Tattletail is a name that I can probably guarantee you have not heard in a long time. Because honestly, I completely forgot this game existed until I saw a random meme about it not too long ago. And I thought there was no better time to talk about a game that takes place during Christmas than, well, during Christmas. So I went back and played all of Tattletail, 100%ing it, including what is essentially free DLC, so that I could answer this simple question. Was Tattletail ever actually a good mascot horror game? The answer to that is more complicated than I expected. Tattletail's premise is extremely simple. You wake up December 20th and open your Christmas present 5 days early. Surprise, surprise, your Christmas present was a knockoff Furby named Tattletail. And from this point forward, you pretty much spend 5 nights just doing whatever the game tells you to do.
He's hiding upstairs, bro. Come on, no spoilers.
The game doesn't really ramp up until the 3rd night, so I'm not even gonna talk about the first 2 nights because you can't even die on them. But in case you really need to know what was going on, quick summary: washing machine, vase, sleep. The 3rd night is where the game decides it's ready to start becoming a video game. Because what is possibly the most memorable part of this game to everyone finally gets introduced. And of course, that's Mama. Mama is your Freddy to your Five Nights, your Huggy Wuggy to your Playtimes, your Theodore Masters Peterson to your neighbors. Okay, that one didn't really work out. Anyways, you wake up and you find Mama in the basement, where she promptly does the mascot horror thing where they take a children's nursery rhyme or story or whatever and make it scary, and then she dips. Shortly after, Tattletail decides to make a mess, and now finally Mama wants to kill you. The game tells you to be quiet because when Mama hears you, she kills you. But honestly, this segment isn't long enough for you to be in any real danger. I'm gonna save most of my thoughts of the base game for later, but I need to mention that it might seem like I'm really skipping through things, and honestly, I felt that way playing this. I remember a lot more going on in these first 3 nights, but really nothing happens. But that's not too important because we're on night 4 now and things are starting to get serious. This night is the iconic hide and seek night where you play hide and seek with a Tattletail for the entire night. It's exactly what you think it is. Mama tries to kill you while the Tattletail hides, then you go find him, he hides again, rinse and repeat. This night is easy to summarize, but it is one of the most interesting nights so far. It's the first night to really have stakes and actually have some semblance of difficulty, which also means that it's the strongest one on the horror side, even though generally this game isn't super strong horror-wise. The only thing really bogging it down is the fact that the game tells you exactly where the Tattletail hides every single time that he hides, which sort of eliminates the urgency to try and find him in the first place. This night ends with one of my favorite segments in the entire game, which is the VHS commercial. It's just so unhinged, it's really funny. The music is almost completely unrecognizable. I don't even know what this is. And in general, the ad just gets progressively more and more messed up, so it's kind of really funny. Moving on to the final night, which is definitely the most memorable one. You open with Tattletail forcing you to wake up, telling you that they're throwing a party for Mama. All Tattletail asks you to do is grab some party supplies so they can prepare for the party. After grabbing friends, cupcakes, lights, and candles, you get one of the funniest bait and switches in this entire game, because you might realize that, oh, this isn't a party, this is a sacrificial ritual to banish Mama permanently. It's hard to describe this without just showing you what it looks like. It's just really funny. The whole time this is going on, Mama's trying to stop you and kill you, but honestly, Mama's really not that hard to avoid. Complete the ritual, grab the tape, and bam, Mama dies. And at this point, that's basically the end of most of Tattletail. All that's left is to wake up during the day where you realize that you actually woke up in heaven because your outside is just that bright, and now you get to open your Christmas present, which just ends with you getting killed by Mama. So what do I think of Tattletail as an early addition to the mascot horror genre? All in all, it's pretty good. The biggest flex this game has is not overstaying its welcome. It only really takes an hour to beat, and so it doesn't get boring. The next thing I like the most is this game's personality. It's a horror game, but it's not really that scary. That being said, there is plenty of times where I just laughed out loud.
She was never banned.
This game seems very self-aware of its idea. It's pretty stupid, but it doesn't try and play it completely straight. Like other mascot horror games, it realizes how dumb its concept is. That being said, because of how short it is, I'm not a big fan of how much time is spent really doing nothing. This game kind of has an issue of giving the player things to do that makes sense to pass the time. The game is a lot smaller than I remember. When I was younger, I thought this game was huge, but I'm not that upset about that, because honestly, if this game was any longer than it is, I probably would have came out of this playthrough with a much different opinion. There is still a little bit to this game though. After its big burst in popularity, the creators released one more free update with some content in it. And what was that content? Well, it was the concept of the kaleidoscope has a lot of lore attached to it that I really don't care about, and it kind of confuses me. But my guess for what's going on is that you're reliving a bunch of memories from the base game, but somehow you specifically can't remember that the entire time Mama was trying to kill you, so you keep remembering her doing very nice things, which in the context of the game is absolutely hilarious. And for some reason, this makes Tattletail extremely boring.
Red, white, and blue are colors.
Oh my god. I love America.
So you gotta go deep within your memories to try and make Tattletail fun to play with again. So in this DLC, you basically start from Christmas Day and go backwards until you reach the very first day of the original game, where you basically enter your mind, or the kaleidoscope. The kaleidoscope is a pretty cool, trippy area. I like this a lot, but nothing really happens until you get to the very end, where perhaps my favorite moment in all of Tattletail happens. You make it to the end of the kaleidoscope and Tattletail asks you a simple joke. I'm just gonna let this one play out.
Let's tell a joke.
Okay.
Knock, knock.
Oh, who's there?
Orange.
Orange who? What?
Aren't you protecting someone?
This absolutely killed me. I thought this was hilarious. But anyways, after this funny scene, really all that happens is Mama's now in the kaleidoscope with you. So all you gotta do is escape now, but you can easily cheese it by bee-hopping because the game enables your ability to jump in the kaleidoscope. But they also forgot to make jumping make noise. Once you're out of the kaleidoscope, Tattletail tells you he loves you, and that's the end of the DLC. And also Tattletail as a whole. There are collectible eggs in the base game that you can get for 100% that unlock a secret ending, but really it's nothing special. All it does is you wake up your parents instead of talking to Tattletail. So really the kaleidoscope is the very last bit of content for all of the Tattletail franchise. So going back to the original question that I asked when I was gonna start playing this game, is Tattletail a good mascot horror? Yeah, it's alright. I'd give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Here's where it would go if I was comparing it to all the other mascot horror that I've played. It's hard to hate this game because it doesn't do anything wrong, and I don't think it's boring at any point. It's funny, it's enjoyable, and it's short. I literally beat this game fast enough that I could refund it, but I'm not gonna do that because that's evil. But the whole time I couldn't get it out of my head. I really thought that this game was bigger and scarier. But then it hit me. I kind of had a revelation about mascot horror as a whole. Mascot horror is horror for kids. I might look at Hello Neighbor or Five Nights at Freddy's or Bendy and the Ink Machine and go, wow, that was not scary at all. Why was I so terrified by that? But that's because those games continued to create more games as I got older. Eventually, I and many other people just grew out of the releases. You start to realize that maybe Markiplier was faking those reactions a little bit. So with something like Tattletail, it did exactly what it wanted to, and it never expanded past that. So I think it's remembered more fondly because I remember my experience with it as a kid. And in a way, I slightly ruined that by playing it again.
It's looking like Five Nights at Freddy.
But that aside, Tattletail still rocks, and it's gonna hold a special place in my heart for years to come. Personally, I hope this series stays exactly how it is. I see it getting a revival at some point years down the line, but I really don't think it needs it. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video of my little rediscovering of Tattletail. Subscribe for more content, check out my old stuff, and that's it. Bye-bye!